Hey everybody, welcome, and thank you for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. My name is Zach Brittle. I'm here with Laura Heck. This is a fun one today. We cover a lot of topics. In a recent episode, we talked about complaining too much or too little, and I said, I think a complaint is a bad ask. In this episode, we talk a little bit more specifically about what that ask is. How do you ask for what you want, and can you get that wrong? And I think it's a fun topic to play around with. We have about 15 minutes of goofing off and just talking to each other, catching up, exploring insights into the world. So I hope you'll enjoy that. We also talk a little bit more about our Patreon effort. This is a big deal for us, you guys. We are looking for ways to stay engaged with you as a community and also fund Marriage Therapy Radio. I want to say a big thank you right now to Nicolette and to Britta, who have both become new patrons. We're excited. I'm excited to work with you guys. And you became patrons at the book club level, which means I actually have to deliver a book club. And I'm excited about that. Thank you for that. If you want to join, you can go to Marriage Therapy Radio and click on the Patreon link there, and you'll find the different tiers. Straight up, we need you to participate. Thank you for thinking about it. But for now, again, we're talking about how to ask for what you need. This is a very cool conversation. Stick around.
We were just talking about social media, and you said that you have your personal Facebook set up where it's like kind of like a news feed, right?
Yeah, I unfollowed all the people. So I don't get any updates about anybody's life. I just get the news that I want and the vendors that I want and the sports that I want. I don't see like your trip to, Belize or your kid's graduation party or you're complaining about the current state of the world. I only get what I want. And then I get the birthdays. So it's Candace's birthday. That's why I was like, it's Candace's birthday. That's pretty cool.
Oh, well, is this the Candace that we interviewed, or is this, no, probably not.
It is the Candace that we interviewed. However, it's not the Candace you're thinking of. We've interviewed two Candaces. We interviewed Candace Horback, who spent a career in the adult film industry. And then we interviewed Candace Zubernaut, who runs a thing called the Christian Closet, which is counseling ministry or counseling services to folks who are trying to come out. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Why did you think I wasn't going to think of that, Candace?
Because I don't think you would remember that. It was a long time ago.
It's true. It's true. It is kind of interesting to me how your memory and my husband's memory works very well. And I've always been told this by my husband, like, you don't remember a thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's memory. I don't know if it's that my brain just kind of operates a little differently, but I really don't. I don't remember things like really well at all.
Actually, and I just think about stuff too. So, I don't know. I'm always thinking about how things connect. And so it's not necessarily that I remember the thing. I remember how the thing is connected to the other thing. And then that helps me remember the thing. Which is why I'm very good at winning national trivia contests.
Uh-huh.
I won a national trivia contest this week. Yeah, of course. My second year in a row.
Was that this week? This wasn't this week.
It was last Thursday.
You did it last? Okay. Because didn't you take a picture of it and send it to me? And I was like, meh, big deal.
No, you were like, I want to make fun of you so bad. I was like, why would you make fun of me? I won a national trivia contest.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I went to Applebee's, and if you go to Applebee's and you get the little game top, console, you can play trivia against everybody who is at Applebee's at that exact same time, no matter where they are in the country. And so I did. I played trivia with people from all over the country, and I won. So I won national trivia contest.
If you are very impressed by this information, I would love for you to give Zach some kudos on our Instagram page. And if you are like me, where you describing that it's a national contest with only the people that were at Applebee's at that exact moment playing the same game, if that completely takes away.
I'm going for the three-peat next year because it's a tennis tournament. So my daughter was in the state tennis tournament in Vancouver, and last year we also went on the Thursday before the tournament, and I won a national trivia contest last year. And next year she's got one more chance at the tournament, but I also have one more chance to three-peat as a national champion in trivia. I'm excited about it.
Well, we will all be holding our breath for that. We're very excited for you.
I hope we're still on the air in a year. Like, that's the thing, you guys. Like, if you want to hear about next year,
I was honestly thinking the same thing. Yeah,
the national trivia contest. We're going to need you to step up with our new little Patreon plan that we've been unfolding, and we're going to keep talking about it because the reality is, unless and until our community grows and helps us fund this thing, we're going to have to make some decisions about whether to stay on the air. So Laura, I'm actually kind of obsessed with that platform because you last week spent a few days just like putting some updates, like things Laura likes, or here's a podcast I'm listening to. And I was like, this is cool. I want to do that. So cool. I think,
you're going to add some stuff in there.
If you've joined the Patreon community, you're going to get notifications from us, and it's sort of behind the scenes stuff that we're excited about. And it might just be something I'm thinking about on a random Thursday,
I think that's a great idea. Because there's, like right now I was just thinking. I don't want to send out like a regular
email. Everybody gets emails, but I'm all about sending out like what I think about Shogun. Are you watching Shogun? You're not watching anything?
No. I'm not. Well, actually, I am. I am half watching The Resident. It feels like Grey's Anatomy. It's another like medical show, but it's like the same storylines. Like someone comes in and I'm like, oh, they're going to get hit by a bus. Oh yeah, there's definitely going to be like a tornado. Like the amount of people that actually go to the hospital for traumatic injuries in my life, very small. But apparently if you work in a hospital, you are most likely going to be in the ER with some kind of traumatic injury at some point in like a season. So I watched crappy television.
ER was my show. It was the show that I was first obsessed with. I watched it religiously. And
that was with George Clooney, yeah?
George Clooney was in it, yeah. Oh, I want to tell you about this game I play sometimes. Hold on. Okay, so ER was my show. And I watched this show religiously. And then, I was like, that meant like every Thursday at 10, I had to be in front of the TV. And then they invented like the VCR and you could like record it.
Anytime you wanted. Yeah.
And so because of my OCD, I would like obsessively watch this show. And then one day, right after we got married, Rebecca recorded it for me, but she recorded it on mute.
Okay.
So I couldn't hear
You still watched the entire thing? I bet you watched the whole thing.
That was the last episode I ever watched. I gave up after that because my streak was broken.
She ruined it for you.
Yeah, she did.
You're an interesting cat, Zach.
Hey, what's your current longest streak right now?
No idea. I was really pumped because for a while.
To ask.
I'll be really honest. There was something happened hormonally, or maybe my husband was doing a lot of chores around the house, and then we went for like a 4-day streak of having sex every day. Okay. That's probably TMI, so 4? But yeah. So that was a very long streak in a happy marriage, and I say that because I need people to understand that when they're like, "Well, we should be having sex every day if we're happy," and I'm like, the average is actually closer to about once or twice a week for happy relationships that have been together for a long time. So I thought 4 days in a row is going really well. I have a great streak.
But now it's not active streak.
It's not an active streak. I broke it.
Okay. So what's your current active streak?
I don't know. I don't think I do anything consistently. Maybe I take my vitamins every day.
Okay. So this is actually a question I have about this, because is a streak something you do like as a matter of being alive, or is a streak something you do as a matter of like intentionally having a thing? So for example, like I haven't had a drink in 3.5 years, but I don't consider that a streak anymore. Like that's just how I am. Like it's a thing that it's
who you are.
It's a thing I used to measure. Oh, I've had 7 days, I've 15 days, like I've streak of whatever. Right. But now I don't measure it at all. So, and then my buddy Greg, he's flossed like every single day since he was 12. He doesn't have a flossing streak. That's just his life. His hygiene is natural. But me, I've had flossing streaks before, 100 and something, whatever. But I've had this question now. I've done this like 3 times now in like settings with people, because you can have a whole like long conversation about what counts as a streak and what's interesting. I don't know. I like this, like I said, I think about things, but the reason I think about it is because I had a Wordle streak going, maybe like almost 100 days. And then I missed a day.
And then you stopped Wordling
now it's
completely?
At like 8. Well, like my streak went away.
Yeah.
So I was like, that streak went away. I wonder what my what's my streak? What's the thing I've been doing? And so I don't know what it is, except that it's probably now Wordle again, because I'm up to like 12 or 13.
I'm just like, I'm kind of amazed at the way in which you think about things. And the opposite is that I had a female in my office refer to her husband as a skimmer. And it was negative, the way that she described him. And as she was talking about him as a skimmer, a life skimmer, I started to relate. And I think I probably took offense to that, because I was like, hey, I'm a skimmer. And I am just kind of thinking about what you spend all day, every day working with clients where your brain is actively engaged working. And then you're done. And then you start really analyzing and I'm not going to say overthinking. That's a judgmental phrase.
I probably do.
Thinking a lot about all the things in your life, including your Wordle streak, including your floss streak or your friend's floss streak.
Did I tell you this one about how I spent like a half a day thinking about why do people honk their horn?
No, that seems like a waste of time.
I could write a thesis about it at this point because I thought about it so much.
So
that's weird.
I feel very strongly that as a cyclist, by the way, do not honk at cyclists. This is a public service announcement. If I haven't said it already on the podcast, maybe I'll say it. I'll make a streak of it every time. Do not honk at cyclists. And I looked up because it scares us while we're driving. And so even though you might be trying to alert us or say like, hey, I'm pissed that you're on the road and I want to get by you, it scares a cyclist. And then the fear is that they might end up, once you fall on a bike, like the potential of breaking a limb is pretty high. So please do not honk at cyclists. There are laws that actually say that you cannot honk at a cyclist. The only reason you should honk is if they are in like imminent danger and you're trying to like warn them of something. But if you're pissed or if you're trying to get by them or you're just trying to get their attention, don't honk. But here's how I feel about horns. How come we have not developed a way to communicate with a couple different tones of horns? One would be like, I'm pissed. I'm angry at you. Another would be like, the light turned green. I think it's time to go now. Like the Canadian horn versus the American horn. I think we need both.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I started thinking about this because we were in New York City and people in New York City are distinctly different type of honkers than people in Seattle. Their horns are different. And they use them for different purposes. So then I started thinking about like, well, I wonder why do people do this? And I know I usually only honk when I'm angry, like when I'm mad. So now I'm assuming everybody's mad when they honk. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Like I could think about this for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to tell you about one more thing that I'm doing right now that's kind of fun for me. Before we start talking about marriage stuff.
In the intro, will you just tell them that it's a long one? So if they like to get to the sound bites, they need to fast forward a solid 15 minutes.
Totally.
Okay.
Here's my game that I'm playing right now. It's a game called I Don't Know, and I'm kind of happy about it.
That's my life. I live in that ignorance all day long.
So it happens to me a lot where I'm like, I don't know. And then I just immediately Google it and I find out the answer, and it takes me like less than a second to get the answer to this question. So now I find that there are certain things that I don't know, and I'm just kind of glad, and it's going to come to me. It's going to come to me eventually. I'm going to know eventually. So earlier when you said that's someone with George Clooney, for a while there, I was like, what is the name of the doctor that George Clooney played on ER? And I didn't know. I couldn't remember. And I was kind of happy about it. And I just let myself not know for a while. Yeah. And it was awesome. And then it came to me one day and I was like, look at that. That's pretty cool.
What is his name? I'm going to take a stab in the dark. Are you ready? I think, and I've never seen ER. But I think his name was David.
It's Doug.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Doug Ross. Dr. Ross.
Okay.
The other one that happened to me is, this was a little anticlimactic, but do you know in Star Wars, in Empire Strikes Back, when they go to the Cloud City and that's where Luke Skywalker gets his hand cut off?
I am already shaking my head no.
Okay,
and
listen.
You can see me. My eyes are rolling into the back of my head.
I don't know the name of the Cloud City. I cannot remember the name of the Cloud City.
Okay.
And I loved it for a while. And then somebody told me, oh, it's just called the Cloud City, which is a little annoying because it means I kind of did know the name, even though I didn't know the name. But I did like the experience of not knowing the name and then just having it come up in normal conversation, which was kind of cool.
Okay, so it kind of ties a little bit back into the choice that you have made. And I went off of social media very intentionally about a year and a half ago, something like that. And I know that our listeners are like, but Laura, you have an Instagram account. That's true. It's different though. I will say that it's different. We have people that manage, they may not manage. I don't know. We'll see how long
by the time this episode comes out, we might not be able to afford them unless you go on our Patreon and help us out.
But I got rid of social media.
I don't mean to guilt trip you guys, but I absolutely do mean to guilt trip you guys, especially if you've been listening for a long time. Like, buy us a cup of coffee, seriously.
Once a month. Okay.
Or a sandwich.
So Oh my gosh, people are going to stop listening altogether. A fancy cocktail is like $20 in Bend, Oregon, by the way. Like they're very expensive cocktails, but they're nice. So I very intentionally went off of social media, which meant that I have to talk to people. And it was kind of fun. I got a text message from a girlfriend that I don't even know the last time I saw her. And she lives here in Bend. We had this little budding relationship, and it's been maybe 2 years, maybe longer since I've seen her. And she texted me out of the blue and said, "Do you want to go for a walk?" And I literally was like, this is going to be really interesting because I have no idea what's going on in her world. I have no concept, but that's not the norm. The norm is that even though you haven't physically seen someone or talked to them, you have a vague understanding of what's going on in their life because you're social media friends with them.
Yeah. Or just ask her like what her longest streak is and see if you have like a 20-minute conversation about that.
Okay. And we could do that. I was actually going to ask her what beach reads she has. So maybe I'll ask my listeners, the ones that like me, not you, what book they're reading, because I leave 1 week from today on our vacation. And I'm reading right now Fast Girls, which is about the 1936 Olympics in, is it Berlin? I want to say Berlin. And it's about the female sprinters. And so that's like, checking all my boxes. But if you have a beach read, maybe email them, send them to Instagram, hit us up on the Patreon. Did you read the Midnight
Library yet?
Not yet. Midnight Library. Okay. Hey, should we talk about something? We made it to 15 minutes. The last few times you've asked for a book
recommendation, I've told you to read the Midnight Library. By the way, it's been like probably 4 times.
Well, that just shows you how much I respect your opinion.
Yeah. Or listen or remember. Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing that I've been...
and remembering are not high on your
list. Not high.
Hey gang, I just want to take a minute to talk a little bit about becoming a patron of Marriage Therapy Radio. We're trying to do this in order to keep the lights on. Honestly, Laura and I are committed to running Marriage Therapy Radio through the end of the year, but we're having to ask some hard questions about whether or not we can afford to do that. We have created a Patreon that has some benefits to you. There are some behind the scenes looks at what's going on in our lives. There are some bonus episodes that we're creating. There's a book club option. There's also an option just to support Marriage Therapy Radio out of the kindness of your own heart. Turns out we need about 30 people at each level. So we need about 30 people to buy us a cup of coffee, 1 for every day. We need about 30 people to buy us a sandwich, about 1 for every day. We need about 30 people to buy Laura a cocktail, about 1 for every day. And then we need a handful of you who are just interested in supporting the work that we have going on here. I know that there are some of you who could give $25 or $50 or $100 a month without blinking an eye. And I'm hoping that you will decide that keeping Marriage Therapy Radio on the air is a good thing. We are not trying to be influencers. That is not our goal. We're not trying to make $1 bajillion. We do not want to even have this cheesy brand that we're promoting, but we do want to continue to have influence in the area of relationships and making the world a better place. So if you have an inclination to support our work, if you are interested in some behind the scenes stuff or being part of the book club or anything in between, or if you just want to continue to show your support for the podcast, we welcome you to visit marriagetherapyradio.com and find the Patreon page there where you can come on at any one of the levels. And we're going to give you a shout out just like we did at the top of this episode, and make sure that you know how much we appreciate you. We do. We appreciate you listening, spreading the word, telling your friends to listen, putting reviews on Apple Podcasts, supporting our sponsors, paying attention to social media. All of that helps us continue to do what we'd love to do, which is hang out with one another and hang out with you and continue to make the relationships better today than they were yesterday.
But speaking of respect, I was going around with a client, and I thought, man, I'm going to kick this around with Zach because we just did an episode on complaining. Has it already aired, or is it yet to air? Okay, so it already aired. We're talking about complaining. Are you on the spectrum of I complain too much? Do you not complain enough? And then I started explaining to Zach this idea that when we complain, and we have a very specific ask, because we have been taught to be very clear, concise, and ask for what we need and want from our partner so that you're not expecting your partner to know what you want. Are we setting our partner up for failure, basically? And where I'm seeing this come in is it's not a direct ask of, hey, honey, and I did this morning. We're out of milk. Can you run to the grocery store? Would you be willing to run to the grocery store for me? That's an ask. Make me feel really great to have coffee with milk in it. I'm talking about when you're asking for your partner to turn towards you in a specific way. And I like, Zach, like, what is your, if we're going to say love language, but we've talked about kind of like what counts as like, oh, it's like a $1 bill deposit in my emotional bank account versus a $10 bill. But if you were to be, let's just feeling disconnected and lonely from Rebecca, how would you communicate to her that you needed her to turn towards you? What would you ask for?
Well, first of all, let me say this. We're feeling really connected right now. So this is like, I have to exercise my brain a little bit. And I just want to give her kudos because we're feeling like, so she's doing a great job of turning toward me in exactly the ways that I want. So I'll say that first. But I think I just ask. I literally will say, hey, this is what I need. And usually if I'm aware enough, I'll ask in advance, usually via text, to say, hey, later tonight, this is what I need. I really need you to, or could you please do this? Like, so I'm pretty explicit, and I think I have enough practice that I'm aware. I think the thing I need to ask for most, honestly, is to not be connected. Like, can you just leave me alone? Can I just have some time to myself? Or can I can I not make dinner? Can I watch hockey while you make dinner? So the thing I most often need is permission to disconnect. And that recharges me a little bit. Yeah. But if I need something specific, I generally ask pretty explicitly and in advance and probably by text so that I can, so it can be almost like a business transaction.
Okay. So here's what I'm seeing is you have reached down, you've uncovered what is it that I really need. I don't need disconnect. I need connection. The way that's going to fill my bucket up is I'm going to ask you for
opposite. I don't need connection. I need disconnection sometimes.
Sure. But when you need connection and you say, hey, honey, I really would love for you to sit and watch this movie with me. And, maybe we can make out a little bit. Right. So you ask specifically for what you need. And then here's the thing that I'm kind of like starting to grapple with is the idea that your partner, that's not like their preferred love language. Maybe it's really difficult for them. Like, I don't sit down and watch movies. We know this about me. So when my husband wants me to sit down and watch a movie, it is physically uncomfortable, but I will make you the most delicious cookies you've ever tasted. And I will scratch your back until you fall asleep. And I will do all these other things. And in relationships, I'm finding there's quite a bit of tension in I've asked you multiple times to turn toward me in this very specific way, physical touch, like a deepening conversation. I want to be wined and dined. I want to feel special. I want you to touch me in a certain way. And the other partner, it's not that they're not turning toward them. It's that they're not turning toward them and checking the box in that very specific way. And this is causing more tension. And I'm really like starting to question, should we be teaching this differently? Should couples have another way of being able to turn toward their partner that is not setting them up for failure? Because I don't think that if you're not checking the box exactly how your partner is wanting you to turn toward them, that it shouldn't discount the fact that you don't love them. Because the fact is that they are turning towards you. They're just not doing it exactly how you've asked or requested. So I wanted to get your opinion on that. Like, have we steered couples wrong by telling them to be explicit?
Well, no, I don't. I think you can do both. I think you ought to be explicit about your ask. And if you can't do it, we've said this many, many times. Like if Ryan says to you, hey, babe, tonight, what I really need is for you to just settle down with me, watch a movie and, not have your phone or, whatever it is that would cause you to stretch. Yeah. I think about like, I got you to watch a movie once and you barely watched it because you were doing whatever else you were doing. And
true. So I have a really hard time.
Well, that's fine. Right. So, but if you can't do it, if you're like, babe, this is how I would coach a client. I would say, fine, you can't do it. It's really hard for you. If you're going to give a no though, you got to find a way to say yes. Like, which is to say, babe, there's nothing I'd rather do than watch this movie with you, but you know how impossible that is for me. So if you're okay with me, like also shopping, or if I could just put my feet in your lap, or if it's okay with you that I don't care about this movie, I mean, you're just negotiating terms, right? I mean,
sure.
But the heart of that negotiation is I can't say yes to your explicit ask 100%. Here's the part that I can say yes to. Okay. And can we work that out? Can we make that work? So, for me, I had this conversation yesterday with clients where she was basically like, this is just the way I am. And he was like, well, this is just the way I am. And I go, fine.
Right.
If that's the end of the conversation, you should expect to have conflict for the rest of your life.
Right.
If this is just the way I am, and so I'm willing to learn more about what you need, and me too, this is the way I am, and so I'm willing to learn more about what you need, then we can actually start to have, like generate a third thing, which I think is ultimately what you're chasing.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps answer your like kind of specific, I need this in the moment question, but thematically it's what I absolutely believe, which is that being in a long-term committed relationship is about negotiating terms for getting your needs met. Yeah.
So being willing to negotiate, I think what I'm seeing is a lot, and interestingly, I mean, this has come, it's a theme right now with multiple clients. Then I'm starting to chase back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been seeing this my whole practice. How come I haven't, noticed this? And a lot of times what it is it's the female in these heterosexual relationships, not that it matters, but this is the theme, who is now starting to notice all the ways in which her partner is not meeting her very specific want, wish, need, desire. And she's missing all the ways in which he has been turning toward her, and he has been showing her love and affection. But it doesn't count. And I get that. I hear that response of like, it feels like it just doesn't count. You're not even noticing when I'm doing this and this. Like, I'm taking the kids to the park. I'm letting you sleep in. I'm making you barbecue. I'm mowing the lawn. I'm turning towards you.
Yeah.
But I haven't had that, deepening conversation, or I haven't taken you on a date and like swept you off of your feet. And that's what she's been asking for. And so it almost feels like she's doubling down and saying, this is what I need. And the conversation that I have is, should I lower my expectations? Should I lower my bar? And
who lower their bar? In the story you just told, the she, in that story that you just told, should she lower her bar?
Yeah. Should I lower my bar? Should I just recognize that my needs are not important, and that I should just, put my needs aside and say, you're never going to be able to meet my needs, and therefore I'm just going to stop asking or expecting that you can show up for me the way I need you to show up for me.
You said no? I mean, in the extreme for sure. I mean, sometimes I'll hold my hands up like this and I'll say, this is like I'm holding my hands up, and there's a gap between my hands, and the top hand is the expectation and the bottom hand is the experience. And the gap between my hands is the pain. Right. And the way that you diminish the pain or you shrink the pain is, yes, you can lower your expectations. That diminishes pain. You can also raise the level of experience. That can diminish the pain, right? It closes the gap between your hands. But I don't think you can lower, there is a bar that you can't lower it under. And you shouldn't lower it under, but you can recognize sometimes that maybe your expectations are too high. That's different. Those are different kind of conversations, but I don't think I think both hands have to move. I think you close the gap because you're tempering your expectations a little bit more. And in the story that you just told, he is trying to meet those expectations by raising his ability to experience. It's interesting, the example that you used. I literally had this conversation yesterday, and I don't know if I'm about to derail you, but this is what I offered him. This is what I said to him, that there's a formula, right? She says, you don't do this, you don't do this, you don't do this. I'm upset about this. I'm upset about the thing. I'm upset about that thing. I'm upset about the other thing. I want this, and that's not a really fair representation of what she did, but she was doing the thing that you were describing, sort of saying, I want date nights. I want this. I want that. Yeah. The formula, and he got defensive. He started to get real defensive and started to get real angry about it. And I could see him kind of crawl into the couch. And I said, let's try something. I want you to try something for me. There's a 3-part formula. Part 1 was, I want you to look across the couch and say, here's the part of what you're saying that I really resonate with, that I actually agree with. 100% I'm on board with you. So he might have to say, you're right. We haven't been on date nights. And I did promise to clean out the garage, and I didn't clean out the garage. And you're right. Okay. Yes. I said things to you that did not come to, yes. That's number 1. Number 2 is where he acknowledges his defensiveness by owning the part that he's getting hung up on, where he says, here's the part I'm getting hung up on. It seems like you are only focusing on the things that I didn't do. And I'm getting hung up because I'm aware of things that I did do that were sort of outside of your request zone, but And that felt really helpful but I'm getting hung up on that, babe. Like it's keeping me from being able to meet your need. And then the third part was, here's what would really help me. And he ended up saying, if you would acknowledge that I took the kids for a really long walk and that I cleaned the car out and that when you asked me to sit down and watch Grey's Anatomy, I sat down and I watched Grey's Anatomy, even though I didn't plan that date night, it would really help me do the other thing that you need. Yeah. So again, I don't know if I'm derailing your thing, but if you can't, if someone's not meeting your specific ask because for whatever reason they can't, or they don't, or they're absent-mindedness, the way you're describing it and the way that happened on the couch yesterday isn't going to be effective. I'm mad because you don't. I'm mad because you don't. I'm mad because you don't.
Right.
But even if someone brings that to you, if you can say, I totally get the part about how you're mad.
Right.
I'm getting a little bit hung up on this other part because it seems to miss something. It would really help me meet your need if you could acknowledge this other thing or this place that I have said yes. Then I think it creates the space for negotiation, right? It's at the end of that formula that I gave him was, can you help me? Can you help me help you? Can you help me help you? Feel secure, feel loved, feel connected. And I think when two people are saying, can you help me help you? That's where secure attachment comes from.
Sure. Yeah. That when you have a need, there's going to be someone there listening to you and saying, I hear your need and I want to meet your need as much as possible. That is absolutely like the whole Susan Johnson passed away. What do you think? Maybe a couple months ago?
I guess it was about a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah. About a month ago. But she talks a lot about secure attachment in relationships. And so we lost a pioneer. Sadly, I think that that's kind of the wave of what's going to be happening is a lot of the big wigs in our industry are getting up there and they're mature and they're in their age. So just a little shout out to Susan. When you had your hands up, and so one hand is up, one hand is down, and they're on top of each other. They're parallel to each other. And you said, we don't want you to lower your expectations. But the thing that I am struggling with is the question of whether or not you're asking for your partner to be able to show up in something that's beyond their capacity. Like my husband, if he's asking me over and over and over, I just want for you to sit down, relax, be stress-free, and don't move for 2 hours. That is literally like really difficult for me. It's not that I don't want to. It is hard. And it's something, so I can put a lot of effort into trying to manage my desire to move around, to get things done. And I can work really hard on taking steps to try and meet his need to be calm and to lay and whatever it might be. But also, when is he going to recognize that he's asking and has expectations for how I can show up for him that is beyond who I am as a human being? And that's it. For me, it's a little bit of like acceptance and tolerance of your partner. And it's not lowering the expectations or lowering the bar, but I think it is accepting that your partner is not going to be, like I have one client, she's so sweet. And she says, Laura, like, I love coming to therapy because you're my hype girl. You are my echo chamber. You are so energetic and bubbly. And she said, I just want my husband to be like that. And I was like, but that's not who he is. That's not who you married. And we keep, at some point, like I think it's okay to have high expectations, but it's also okay to have some tolerance and acceptance of your partner for who they are as a person. And that when you're asking for them to meet your very specific need, it may not hit the mark because you're looking for that to come in a way that resonates for you and doesn't resonate for them. I want for there to be space in our relationships for the person sitting across from you to be who they are to their core. And I was wondering if we were shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit by saying, when you have a need, ask very specifically for your need, have high expectations that that's going to come back to you. And I think we need to also allow there to be space for your partner to delight you in the way that is uniquely them in the relationship and allows for them to show up in the relationship, to serve you, to be your partner, to turn towards you in their way. And I get the feedback that I get is, I just feel like she's trying to control me, or I just feel like if I don't hit the mark, it's this like control element. And I don't know, like I'm really struggling with this idea. And it turns out there's no special formula. Everything's on a continuum. Everything is about balance.
Yeah, of course. You're teasing a whole other topic of just idea of like, when does a desire, expressed desire, feel like demand, or how do you differentiate between desire and demand? Like, I feel like they're controlling me. I don't know. I don't think I would want to take my foot off the gas of asking for what you need, but I do think I would want to shift responsibility toward the hearer who maybe has a particular boundary against that ask for whatever reason. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. It feels unsafe to me. I don't have the bandwidth to learn how to do, whatever it is, to have an adult conversation about it in a way that still prioritizes the attachment with the partner. Me saying no to your ask isn't me saying no to you. Me rejecting the ask isn't me rejecting you. It's me saying, babe, I don't know if I can do it. I really don't know if I can do it. But you know what I think you should do? 100%. I think you should go to the movies with your buddies. I think you should absolutely go out and know that I'm going to be okay. I will take care. I will clean the house while you're gone. Like, I will, whatever it is. Like, what is the trade-off that says, while like, if I can't do the exact thing you're asking me for, thank you so much for telling me what it is. Here's what I can do, you know? I think that feels closer to like relational health, I think, than, you know, having people not ask for what they want. But I do think you have to differentiate between whether or not your ask is a desire or demand. That's a totally different style of conversation.
What do you think about the idea that Ryan asks over and over, I would need you to come and sit down with me. And rather than me, I'm thinking of the healthy responses. Okay, that sounds wonderful. I'm glad you want to spend some time with me. Here's what I know about me. I'm going to have a hard time sitting still unless I'm doing something else. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start, you know, making a list with my notebook. Is that okay with you? Because what I'm trying to do is find a way to be able to, if I'm unable to do something, try and find a workaround. I'm going to at least try, because what I think is, if you're just giving up and saying, that's not who I am to my core, I don't sit, that's not my thing, I don't have the capacity, but I think that would feel really rejecting. But if I was to say, yeah, I think I could probably do that. It's not going to look the same way that you lay on the couch and you lump and you watch a movie and you want to snuggle. It's going to look the way that I do things. Is that going to meet your need? And I think at least trying is going to be the best effort. Or if I was to say, hey, let's go for a hike. And my husband says, my ankles are bad. I'm like, okay, so what would work for you? It's kind of like the negotiation, making it, it's not a no, it's just a not in that way, or it's a yes and. Yeah.
Well, again, I hope it just moves. I hope it invites and moves people into the higher quality of conversation about the things that they want, the things that they need. And I think that can go on both sides, both as the asker for what you need and also as the person who may or may not be able to meet that need. I mean, there's a whole other conversation we could have about outsourcing. I mean, that's kind of what I said before when I was like, you should go to the movie with your buddies, like get that need met. But you know, the movie may not be the need. It might just be the attention, you know, and the maybe instead time. Of a movie, it's just a massage or, you know, yeah, whatever it is. So man, that's cool.
Yeah. It's an interesting idea, huh?
All right.
Okay. Well, let's land this plane. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. We're going to just continue to mention it. Patreon is the way in which we're going to continue to support the podcast so that we can keep episodes coming to you. We're on a solid streak, actually. If we're going to talk about streaks, this might be one of the longest ones beside grad school for me, is that we've been doing the podcast for probably a little over 7 years now, and we want to continue to do it. So we would love for you to become a supporter of the podcast by joining our Patreon. You can choose what's right for you. You can check it out, marriagetherapyradio.com. We have a tab that says Patreon. You can quickly become a member, and we're just going to keep feeding you content that continues to serve you through our Patreon page. Thanks so much for all of your time and attention, making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.